three amazing panelists of the today, and I will be introducing our first and our third one. Our first panelist is from Singapore, which is located in District 3310. She was part of the first ever group of Rotaract delegates sent to the Rotary International Assembly in San Diego. And she is a post-district Rotaract representative and current member of the Rotary Club of Raffles City. Currently, she's pursuing a Bachelor of Early Childhood Education. We welcome our first panelist, Rita Liu.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Vincent. And then our second panelist is team-oriented and has an extensive Rotaract journey. Since joining in 2012, he has served in several district and international positions, most notably as a Rotaract representative on the 2018 to 2019 RI Rotaract and Interact Committee, the 2019 to 2020 RI Rotaract Committee, and the Elevate Rotaract Task Force. He's the recipient of numerous awards, including Rotaract Nigeria's National Merit Award, Nigeria's National Polio Plus Committee's Outstanding Service Award, and he is a Level 6 Paul Harris Fellow. Outside of Rotary, he holds a Bachelor in Computer and Electronic Engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. He has served as a Deputy Speaker of a Children's Parliament, State Representative at the Federal Ministry of Education Children's Forum, and has been President of five different service organizations. Our second panelist is widely traveled, skilled at promoting success among young people, and has coordinated Rotary fundraisers in over 11 countries and service projects in the US, UK, and across Africa. So let's have a warm welcome for Clement Chinaza Owu Malam.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Igmat. And last but not least, our final panelist has had a successful Rotary career at the club, district, zonal, and international level. She joined the family Rotary in 2010 as an interactor before going on to create John Tyler Community College's Rotaract Club in 2014 and revitalized the Rotaract Club at Virginia Commonwealth University in the next year. She co-chaired Rotary International's Rotaract and Interact Committee and co-founded the Pre-Convention and Rotaract International Convention in Seoul, Atlanta, and Toronto, as well as the Rotary Young Professional Summit in Atlanta, representing District 7600. Currently, she is District 76,000 Rotaract Chair and Zone 33 in Innovative Club Advocate and the think tank chair of the Rotary Zone 33 Foundation team. So many amazing positions she's holding in. She works for cross-family medical practice, and she's also the founder and CEO of DuraSafe, a medical device startup in Richmond. She holds a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. She's beginning the master's degree in healthcare administration this fall and is a member of the Rotary Club of James River, which she has been part of since 2016. Join us and welcome Alexandria Ritchie.
Hi, everyone. Wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. And with that, let's begin our panel. So as we've heard from our introductions, like our panelists have very extensive Rotaract journeys, but we want to learn more about how did you hear about Rotaract? What kind of got you involved in Rotaract, and why have you continued to stay involved? Oh, and I'll throw that out to, I guess Rita can start.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so although I didn't say it before, I was an interactor when I was younger in school. So I started my Interact journey at 2017. Sorry, not 2017, 2007. So I've been in Rotary for about 14 years now. And I was in a RILA program. I was going quite often every year. So on my third RILA program in 2012, one of my Rotaract friends came up to me and asked me that there's actually something called Rotaract, and then he said actually it's something like Interact. The only thing is that it is it's more open, it's more free. You get a lot more decision on what you want to do, like the projects you want to do. And then so I was very interested, and they had a lot of projects that are very deeply connected to me. We work a lot on special needs. And so I joined that club, which is the club of Raffles City, and then I didn't leave after that. So I've been there for 9 years. It's been a good 9 years. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's incredible to hear. Clement, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. As I said earlier, funny enough, I wasn't told about Rotaract. I used to go to the engineering complex to read my books on Sundays when I was in the university. And each time I go to read, I hear them sing some songs in a room. So out of curiosity, one day I had to go and see which people were always singing songs every Sunday evening. And I remember that evening I was wearing a green shirt, a brown trouser, and slippers. I walked into the room and saw young people well dressed, wearing suits, wonderful dresses, and they were singing Rotara songs. And I felt this is the right place to be in. And along the line, I discovered that Rotaract is not just about singing songs. You do community service, you get to travel around, do personal development, and I guess it's been a wonderful journey since then. So that's how I joined.
That's incredible to hear. I'm glad. Did you ever like join them with singing, or did you just like, were you one of the people that eventually joined them singing?
Yes, I kept singing, and in fact now I created a blog that has a lot of Rotara songs and the tunes, so you can sing along with the tunes and all that. So it's been a wonderful experience.
That's awesome. Alex, do you want to share?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Clement, you might have to teach me some of those songs one day. I would love to learn. Anyway, wonderful to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Truthfully, I don't think I found Rotaract. I think Rotaract found me at a time when I needed it the most. So I started Interact in high school, really had no idea what Rotary was. I had never seen the Rotary wheel before. And I just really fell in love with the service aspect, being able to do things for the world that I felt like were going to stick around a long time. I really love that piece. But then my college plans, when I transferred from high school into, a college environment, they didn't go as planned. My family went through some difficult personal transitions, and I ended up at community college, which is a 2-year school as opposed to a 4-year school. So it's kind of like a stepping stone between the two. And I thought that was the worst thing that could happen to me at the time. I didn't know a soul in the school. I didn't have any friends there. And I remembered our Interact advisor telling us to find Rotaract when we got to college. So I just sort of took a leap of faith and decided to try to start one with the Rotarians that I met as an interactor. And it really became the way that I found my second family in college. It changed everything about how I speak, how I communicate, how I think, and how I lead. So it's changed every aspect of my life.
That's amazing to hear, honestly. I think one thing I've heard talked about a lot in Rotary is that your Rotary journey, your Rotaract journey, your Interact journey, even, it's all what you make of it. You choose really, it's kind of like a build your own path, those build your own adventure books, you pick your own adventure, you pick what you do in Rotary. It's really incredible to hear from all three of you how that theme still core aligns. I'm going to pass off to Vincent to segue into our next question, if he's still good to go.
Yes, I'm still good to go. So just connecting to the amazing comments you guys gave was, why have you continued to stay involved in Rotary? And I think personally also for me, it's a very interesting question. I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student in the US, and especially in Germany, Interact is not that no to Rotary, and I think it's very interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I don't know who would like to start, Clement.
All right. So one good thing you should know about Rotaract, for my dear young interactors, is that when you join Rotaract, it's always, what is it for me? What is it for me in Rotaract? But along the line, you're going to discover that narrative will change to, what is it from me? You begin to see Rotaract as an opportunity for you to not only get some benefits, but to impact younger people following you impact your community, travel to so many places, get new cultures, and this for me has kept me in Rotaract. I would have left few years after joining, but each time I remember that every year I'm going to travel to somewhere new, see new faces, get some training, some personal development trainings, get some skill acquisition trainings, and interact in wonderful technologies like Zoom. It always keeps me going in Rotaract, and for me that has kept me in Rotaract.
That's amazing to hear. I'm actually very happy. So we have the possibility to talk to you today. Who wants to go next? Aretha?
Thank you. I think when I joined, I didn't leave because, like I think a lot of people, we find a second family, and then we find, in Rotary and in Rotaract, you find a lot of people that are very like-minded. So people that have very big hearts that want to give to the community, that want to serve. And then you're constantly in this group of people that are helping you grow as a person. And I don't see any, there is always a benefit with being in Rotaract, that you have a bunch of friends that are your family. You're always having fun, you have fellowship, you do good to the world, and then you have all these mentors as Rotarians and Rotaractors, and then they're just helping you grow in life. So throughout the past 8 years that I've been in Rotaract, it has never been it's been a constant journey of growing and becoming a bigger person, becoming a better you, so that you can make the world a better place. So I don't think that I would ever think of Rotaract as a place that nobody can grow and become a better person. Yeah, I would think that was my reason why I continued to stay. And then also because I wanted more and more Rotaractors to become people who would go out there and change the world. So it would be more of a exponential growth in goodness. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. It's so inspirational. Also, that I would say almost everyone says now it's a second family for me. We really want to stay in touch with it. And I actually also do have the feeling, I met Annie in person in Tulsa. We actually met, and it's really like still having the feeling like, oh, I know someone who's like across the world, like somewhere else, but you still feel like you know someone. Yeah, Alexandria, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Vincent. I think there are several reasons that I've stayed. First and foremost, to echo my fellow panelists' comments, I think I found my best friends, in Rotaract and Interact and in Rotary. So that would be number one. But I think number two, I'm always meeting the greatest people. I always find myself regaining energy and new inspiration from the people I meet. I had the opportunity recently to connect with Annie for the first time, and she's just an absolute inspiration. So I think just having that chance to keep forward on this journey, meet more people and learn from one another, it helps make me a better person. Second, I think there is a lot of work left to be done for Interact, for Rotary, and for the future of Rotaract as well. So I wanted to, stick around, be able to work with like-minded people to build that infrastructure, to build things that are going to create positive change and growth for our organization, so that Rotary can remain relevant now and in the future.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on the last part you said. I definitely would say that Rotary is like sustainable, I would say. And just summing up for this question, I would say most of you guys said it's like a family, and you want to like sustain a family, right? So I would say actually that's it from my question now for then, and I will pass it on to Ikmat again.
Perfect, thank you. So I really like is that you guys have talked about Rotary being like basically echoing what Vincent said, but Rotary being a network of like-minded people. And that's definitely going to be an aspect that would have empowered your Rotaract journey. But we just wanted to know a bit more about the other aspects of Rotaract that empowered your leadership journey. And we know personal development and leadership go hand in hand. So that probably like dually would have impacted both. So we just wanted to learn like what kind of other aspects of being involved in Rotaract that empowered that change in you. I'm gonna pass it off to maybe Alex again, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. I think I've definitely changed a lot and grown a lot as a result of Rotaract. I'll never forget my very first speaking engagement was at a Rotary club. And you know how a lot of the older projectors, they have the really long cords that plug into the wall? Well, I tripped on the cord on the way up to the stage to give my talk. So there's been a lot of growth, a lot of personal development. But I think probably the biggest thing is that Rotaract leadership has encouraged me to view being a leader of a team as being someone who empowers the potential in others, not just leading to be in charge or to be the leader. But I think my view of what it means to lead as a result of my time in Rotaract is more about creating opportunities and removing barriers to allow my team, my peers, Interact and Rotaract the chance to reach their full potential and their best selves in service to others. So I think, for me, that's helped me understand what it means to lead with empathy, compassion, and remembering that we're all people first and friends second and members of the Rotary family last. And, recognizing that our personal well-being, our mental health is the starting point for everything and serves as our foundation when we serve, when we act together, and when we have fellowship. I think Rotaract also and Interact too, we're very creative and very innovative. So, the chance to work on projects in a way that I might not have thought of before, to implement solutions that are creative and exciting and, like you said, Vincent, sustainable, that has really shaped how I lead and how I empower others.
That's really awesome to hear. I definitely agree with you that Rotary, it gives you a really big platform and opportunity to learn about different innovative ways to adapt and to gain more of that service leadership, if that's the right term, I believe it is. So that's honestly amazing to hear. Clement, would you like to go next?
All right, I would like to start by saying that before I joined Rotaract, most of my leadership was just at maybe my school level or my state level. But when I joined Rotaract, it was an opportunity to serve at district levels. In my country, we can have so many states in one district. In my region, Africa, you can have so many countries in one district. It was an opportunity for me to serve at higher levels. One of the highest experiences I ever had was serving in the Rotary International Rotaract Committee, serving with Rotaractors from various parts of the world, going to the US for the first time for an in-person meeting at the Rotary International Center, and seeing how we could come up with new recommendations that help Rotaract to be a wonderful experience. Rotaract is also an opportunity and has also always been an opportunity for me to serve with Rotaractors from various parts of the world. There was one translation project committee. In the Rotaract pre-convention, we normally have the program written in English and the slides written in English. So for the first time in the Rotaract pre-convention, we translated these
Oh, Clement, I'm so sorry. I think you've, oh, okay, he's gone. I was going to say, I think he cut out, but then he's gone. While we just wait for Clement to come back, Rita, do you want to kind of give your take on the question?
Okay, thank you, Matt. I think I want to relate this back a bit to my own story of my own journey as a Rotaractor. There was a year that I was the district Rotaract representative. So for those that don't really know what it is, it's just the person that's in charge of the district for the Rotary year. And for that 1 year that I was the district Rotaract representative, I decided to take a year off school and work to travel around my district. And District 3310 that I belong to, it comprises of 3 countries, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. And during that year, I did a lot of traveling to check on the clubs in my area. And then I found it opened a very big perspective for me because my country is a first world country, but the country next door is a third world country. And then when I saw that my own Rotaractors, the first thing, some of them don't speak English. Some of them don't have a laptop, or they have different problems than us. So like for parts of Malaysia, Zika virus was an issue, or that rabies was a very big issue. So it opened my eyes, traveling around. I think a lot of Rotaractors can agree with me that traveling to see your fellow members in other countries it does open up your perspective, and it does show you that, okay, as a leader, I can do a lot more, and I can do, we act as the problem presents itself. So like Singapore has a very different set of problems than Malaysia, and then we have to become very creative problem solvers to kind of target and help the people. And the thing is that it opened my eyes to a further perspective, is that we are not only helping the community, but we also need to help the people helping the community. How could we empower them to become better, to give back to the community more? So like, are they in need of funds, or do they need education in like maybe how to respond to certain situations that are very present for them and not for us? And I think being able to see problems and solutions beyond your perspective and beyond where you live and what you do, especially now in COVID, because we're so disconnected by everybody else, and it's so sad. I'm so sad. But we still can help people solve problems around the world. We just need to be creative individuals to help them out. And I think as a leader, you kind of have to step up and you always have the opportunity to move forward and do good in many, many different ways. And as young people, interactors and Rotaractors, because we're still young, and we haven't formed our brains fully, it's a very good way to become very, very creative with your problem solving. And I love seeing new solutions come up all the time. And I think that is one thing that always powers me to help lead more Rotaractors and interactors down the Rotary road.
That's amazing. I think, Rita, you've really articulated really well how Rotary allows you to be able to be more innovative and to find more creative solutions to problems while still directly serving communities. I think that's just beautiful. Clement, you were telling us about the translation project you had done with the Rotary International, I think Rotaract pre-convention for 2017, if you would like to continue.
Yeah, sorry, we have heavy rainfall outside. Rita just summarized what I was trying to say about the translation project. You know, we became creative and discovered that Rotaractors can think outside the box. Rotaractors can come out with innovations that have never been there before. And when not just coming up with new solutions, but doing it so perfectly well as if they always knew what to do. You know, Rotaractors are my first line of action, first line of people that I ask each time I want to do something creative, because I know Rotaractors are always there for you. You know, and in addition to that leadership perspective, Rotaract enabled me to be able to think differently about people from other parts of the world. For example, my country, you know, I may have had some stories about people in other parts of the country. I may have had some stories about other people outside the country. I'm from Africa. I may have had some stories about other people outside Africa. But joining Rotaract scattered all I heard about them. You know, I could see that wonderful people exist in other parts of my country, other parts of the world, that are always there to help and support you with any kind of leadership plan or project you have. So I think Rotary was one of the best decisions I made in 2012.
That's amazing to hear. I like full-heartedly agree. Like just even like with a platform like RIQ, where you're meeting so many different people from so many different countries, and you're able to interact with so many different like worldviews and perspectives, it really just helps to round out your Rotary experience. I'm going to pass off to Vincent quickly. If you want to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ikmat. I think the summing up what you just said, like the worldviews and different perspectives, that's actually what our next question is about. So what does equity and inclusion look like for engaging youth in Rotary? I think a lot of people know kind of like the stereotype of Rotary. I will just say it. It's like the older man who is in a Rotary club and who does amazing projects, but just that's the stereotype. And I think the misconception actually a lot of people do still have about Rotary. So what does equity and inclusion look like for engaging, really like getting young people into the Rotary world and into the Rotary family. Alexandra, would you like to start?
Absolutely. Thank you, Vincent. This is such an important topic now and always for our organization. I will say I've had the opportunity to listen to and talk with some other key leaders in this area, and which I would recommend we all start with as leaders of Interact, Rotaract, and Rotary. I think listening is the critical first step to having this dialogue meaningfully, respectfully, and in a way that is sustainable. I think when we look at Rotaract and we look at membership into Rotary, equity and inclusion is really about empowering every voice who may not have felt welcomed, included, or valued in the organization previously. I think we need to work a little harder to intentionally create space for audiences that are excluded. And, that often does include us as young people. So that way we can contribute our honest experiences, maybe reservations about being a part of Rotary, some of these misconceptions that we're discussing, as well as our expectations for being in the organization. Should we make that decision to join Rotary? I think it's important to remember too that these conversations can't be forced. We have to be mindful of what one another is comfortable with and our preferred way of sharing. But I think it's also about not expecting the young people in the room or the member of the excluded audience in the room to fix the problem themselves or lend ideas on their own, unless they feel empowered to do so and they want to do so. Those of us who may not have experienced exclusion before, I think we're privileged, and we must challenge ourselves every day to keep that in mind and to purposely create infrastructure that allows opportunities for those excluded audiences to have the experience that they're looking for, not our experience, not the experience that we wanted, but the experience that they want as individuals and as unique members of the Rotary family. So, I think for me, that's what truly embracing inclusion and equity looks like. And I think through doing so, we create a framework for future meaningful discussion on this topic, while also making Rotary overall more equitable as an organization. Thank you, Vincent.
It's just wow, like I couldn't agree more. It's just amazing. Like, as you said, you really took the two-side approach, kind of, that it always should be respectful and like at least together. And if we are together, we can do more. I truly believe that. I actually don't really like to pick on someone who wants to go next, but I will just, Clement, would you like to go?
Yeah, why not? So I agree with Alex, and I would like to say that in my part of the world, here in Africa, we have some serious issues about gender and gender equality normally here in this part of the world, and there are some things that are seen to be male activities and stuff. But it's very, very exciting to know that in Rotaract, that this type of inclusion, that this type of respect for gender, you can see a president that has a female as the president, and female chairpersons. You don't have to be a male to chair some projects or to lead a team in this part of the world. So I think first and foremost for me, Rotaract is an opportunity for members to feel loved, to feel included in everything that happens. And there's another second aspect I want to come from, and this is the youth protection. Interact is basically for school children and those that are just about to enter to become adults. Rotaract is for young adults. And so that this important part of youth protection that Rotary takes very seriously. So it is a way of encouraging interactors in this meeting that want to join Rotaract to know that when you join Rotaract, you're properly taken care of. When you feel that someone is talking to you in a way you don't like, they do. Rotaract is a place that will protect you and protect your interests. We have this laid down channels and technicalities for taking care of this kind of issues in Rotaract. So we make sure that while you are serving in Rotaract, you're also protected as a youth, and you're also given a wonderful environment to give the best you can do. So I think these are the 2 points I want to mention. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Well, thank you so much, Clement, for this. Um, again, like a two-side approach. I always like, we're always, I think, coming back to it, like always from seeing two sides of it. Rita, would you go next?
Right, thank you, Vincent. I think this is one thing we have to look at, is that no organization in the world is perfect. You will definitely meet people that you will not like and people that you will really love. And we have to be able to accept that. So even in Interact, Rotaract, Rotary, there will always be, there's no perfect place. There's no perfect people. We just have to accept and learn how to work with them and go with them. When it comes to inclusivity, I think that anybody with a good heart and a good mind should be a Rotaractor or Interactor or Rotarian. And it's although it's still prevalent that certain clubs are certain types, like that. In Singapore, we do have clubs that are all nurses or all doctors or all lawyers. Yeah, and it may be empowering for them, but it also shows that you are limited by your weakest link, which is everybody is the same. And to me, inclusivity is that anybody with a good heart and a good mind, I will openly accept as a Rotaractor or as an Interactor or as a Rotarian, because everybody has something good to give to the world. And it shouldn't be that they are a little odd or they're a bit weird that you don't accept them with your club. And I think in Rotary, this is a very big thing, is that Rotary is in a lot of people's minds, it's like the old rich man's club. And it's this idea of exclusivity and titles that make it seem so. But as young people, as we age up to become Rotarians in the future, this has to move away. We have to keep bringing the idea that inclusivity and equity is the best way to go forward. Because we want a group of different people. That's what Rotary stands for. We want a group of different people who have different things to bring to the table to make the world a better place. Because all young people know that diversity is power, and we have to constantly bring up that message. Even if we are the only voice in the room to say that, you know what, it's time for ladies to join the club. They have a lot to add. They should join the club. And we have to keep breaking down the barrier. And the thing is that we are a lot younger than a lot of Rotarians, and we have to slowly integrate this idea back to them. Because old people have a difficult time accepting messages. So we have to slowly integrate this idea that, you know what, young people, women, disabled, weird, odd people, all have something to add to Rotary, and we have to take every single good that is in everyone and then bring it to the organization for it to grow. And because we don't know where the growth will happen, but we know when it stops, when you say, no, you shouldn't join the club. And I think that it's a very important message that Rotary International always puts out, is that Rotary is an organization for all. And it's not an organization for just a specific group of people. And as young people, as we grow up, as we become Rotarians in the future, we will have to bring this message forward so that more people will join. And I think that will be the biggest breaking point, where we will have more members joining us. Because you will have people that are good, a bit weird, but everybody has something to add. And it's no longer a single stereotypical club. It is no longer a club where you see a certain group. It's a club where you see everyone. And I think like RIQ is a very good place that you start. Like you have created this momentum going forward. You've gotten people from different countries, from different backgrounds, have different information, and then you're moving forward as a diverse team. And I think that's, as a team, you guys have done a great job. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I think we all really, really, really appreciate these amazing comments. And I really love what you said, like we are all humans. And I think what we as the Rotary family kind of do is always striving for like to get the best out of the possibly best out of someone. And if someone is having a good heart and it's just a good person, sure, why not? And I really love this comment. So that will be my last question for today. Ikmat will be going on. Thank you so much for me being the moderator of this amazing panel. I really loved all the input, all the comments. It's so inspirational. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Vincent. So you guys talked a lot about mindful conversations and in inclusion. I think it's really, really important that as we are navigating these new questions with where do youth fit in, where does diversity, equity, and inclusion fit in, that we're still empowering young people. My next question to the panel is, I think our last one before the question period is, what commitment does your club or your district make towards bridging the Rotaract Interact gap? What do you recommend should be done to bridge this gap and increase membership retention? Because as Vincent mentioned, a lot of the conversation has to go two ways. It can't just be young people telling older members, this is what we want, and older members not responding, and vice versa. So what commitment do you guys think should be seen in regards to bridging the Rotaract Interact gap? As we do know, like Rotaract Interact retention isn't super great. If Clement wants to go first, or whoever wants to go first, really.
All right, thank you. And I'm actually excited to be in this court. I believe that, or starting from my district, there are this thing we do to make sure that the interactors are carried along. And this is first in their trainings, their interact officers trainings and various trainings that interactors have. Most times, Rotaractors go out to help them coordinate their trainings. We have some experience in planning projects, leading the club. So we come together and we help to train interactors. We also involve interactors when we do Rotaract projects. For example, if we want to do a spelling bee or a secondary school competition, and there is an interact in that secondary school, we involve the interactors in that secondary school. They have this sense of leadership, sense of belonging, and they feel like joining Rotaract at the end. We also help them to do some of their graphic designs. Here in this part of the world, Rotaractors have some of these design skills that interactors require. So when interactors want to do their projects, Rotaractors help them to design their flyers. Rotaractors help them to come up with some resource persons. And in fact, when we want to do fundraisings, for example, there is this part of Rotary International called the Rotary Foundation. And this is where Rotaractors, interactors, Rotary members donate, to help projects around the world. So sometimes when we do fundraisers for the Rotary Foundation, we involve interactors, we involve Rotaractors, and try to make sure that we carry everyone along. And Rotaract, for those that don't know, Interact started before Rotaract. Interact was 1962, Rotaract was 1968. So it's always very nice and very wonderful when you leave Interact and you go on to join Rotaract. Rotaract will help you to, get this kind of international experience, this project experience. As an interactor, some of the projects you need to do, you need to get some permission from your council, from your Interact sponsor or your sponsor club or so on. But in Rotaract, you think out of the box. It mustn't be what they tell you to do in school. You're given opportunities to also, even on my Rotary, the website of Rotary International, to open a.
Oh, no worries, continue. You can continue. It's just you had froze for a moment.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the My Rotary. As an interactor, you don't get to open My Rotary account. That's an account on Rotary International website until you're maybe 16 years, and you must have a consent of your parents or your Rotary guardian. But when you join Rotaract eventually at the age of 18 or thereabout, you can open this profile on My Rotary and try to connect with other Rotaractors and Rotarians and interactors around the globe. and some other opportunities that are available to you when you join Rotaract. So I would like to end by saying that Rotaract is just like Interact, but Rotaract is going to even expose you to more projects, more connections, more places to travel to, and keep you in the right track so that you don't drift away, and it just keeps you focused. So join Rotaract when you're done with Interact as soon as you leave secondary school. Thank you.
Thank you, Clement. I really like how when your district does district level interactive Rotaract trainings. I feel like that's missing in a lot of districts, and that really will help with bridging the gap, and how Interact students are incorporated so smoothly into your projects, and how you teach them about the Rotary Foundation, because I know my club, when I was doing Interact, we didn't know what the Rotary, honestly, I don't really know what the Rotary Foundation is now. But it's really important to teach young people that, because the expectation is at some point you start becoming a benefactor of the Rotary Foundation. So it's really awesome to hear. Aretha, would you like to go next?
Okay, Matt. My district does take some steps to try and bridge the Interact Rotaract gap. I mean, we all know that we all hope for Interact to move on to Rotaract. A bit of a challenge for my district is that, especially in Singapore, there's a lot of legal complications because these students, these interactors, are still in school, and in the Singapore law, they aren't allowed outside of the school unless they are accompanied by the teachers, or they have to get signed consent. There's a lot of jargon everywhere, and but we do take steps to move forward from there, and it's to actually try and be in all their events. So we always try to get Rotaractors in their events. If they have an Interact conference, if they have a RILA, if they have any camps, or just like either we do it by the book where we get invited, or we just pop up after that. Yeah, and I think even for me personally, I also took personal steps to try and bridge the gap by getting to know the interactors, and also giving them more information about Rotaract, because they are young people like yourselves. You're young, and you may or may not know what is Rotaract, or what is the future holding for you, and where are the steps you can take, where are the bounds you can, what can you do in the future. And it's good for Rotaractors to come in as a guider, as a guiding light, to show that, you can try this, you can try that, there are many things you can do, and kind of bridge the way for them. And one thing I like to do when I was in the district committee for Rotaract was that, like I said, I'll keep popping up in a lot of the Interact events. Uninvited, I'll just pop up. It's a lot of also, to me, my personal stance was always bending the rules. It was, even if they can't say that you're not supposed to be there, you just turn up and then just share. Because personal stories make a very strong impact. And for a lot of us, we all have a very strong Rotaract story to share, and why it has impacted us, and why we want them to have the same experience as well. And I think it's always about sharing that personal story. It's not just about what we are, who we are, like, oh, we are a massive organization around the world, but the personal story that it brings. And it is this constant sharing from, not only from the district downwards, but also personal. So it's one thing that we try to bring forward is that we try to get Rotaractors to connect with interactors personally. So like get their contacts, text them, hey, what's up, have a tea or drink, and then just chat about how they are going to move forward in life. And then also like introduce them to Rotaract and say that, what, this organization is so wonderful to me, and I want you to be part of it as well. And it's this personal connection that I think will get them to step out of bounds and then come into Rotaract. Like, it's always good to share, because a lot of times we try to go by the masses. So it's just like, oh, in the Interact conference, like, oh, they're talking about this, but they're not paying attention. But when you go down and meet every single interactor out there, they'll be like, oh, this person remembered who I was. This person shared their personal story with me, and they wanted me to join this wonderful organization. And I think that personal story will stick, and it has been quite successful. We've been able to bring a few more up towards Rotaract, and I think that has been working for my district in Southeast Asia especially. Yeah. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for your answer. It's really like you said, like personal stories, personal connections, that's what connects us to other people, right? That's what strengthens our bonds. And young people have such a capacity to form strong bonds because they're always so real with what they're talking about. So I definitely like your approach as to just going in straight to form a personal story, personal connection with Rotaractors. Alex, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. This is a great question. And I really have to echo my fellow panelists' comments on this one. I think, when we're looking at really intentionally bridging the gap between Rotaract and Interact, it requires us to have a commitment to collaboration. And while this element of collaboration begins, like Rita said, with talking about our personal story, it's also, from that, we're able to build partnerships on a genuine level. So looking past our differences in age and really trying to understand the unique value that Interactors bring, that Rotaractors bring to the organization of Rotary. So not only recognizing that, but also appreciating the talents that we bring and the different perspectives and elevating those to help contribute to the larger story of Rotary. I think a really good example, look at what you all have built here with interactive quarantine. I think Rotaractors have so much to learn from this model, from this platform for authentic connections. I mean, you guys have it's absolutely incredible. And I think Rotaractors need to learn from this experience and, similarly share theirs, and hopefully that it might empower and help serve you as well. From a district standpoint, we take a very similar approach to what Clement was talking about. So we have RILA every year, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and our Rotaractors actually serve as mentors to the Interactors. And I have to tell you, one of the biggest things we hear our Rotaractors say is they actually learned more from Interact than they think the Interactors learned from them. And I think that just speaks to that mentorship, that collaboration is a two-way street. Despite our differences in ages and our differences, being at different points in our educational journeys, we have so much to learn from one another. And that really begins when we get to know the individual behind the label of Interactor and Rotaractor, and we really empower one another to contribute to Rotary. Thank you.